Welcome Psych 310 students. This is my week 1 commentary in our spring 2018 semester. This week is one of continuing to explore the course design and expectations and posting questions in Dr. K's office about anything related to course design. Additionally, you'll start reading the funder text or figuring out how to access the funder text and then reading it. I want to point out that we have a funder materials button right here on our website, so that will be a good starting place. Also, in the Getting Started folder, you'll see a link to the Norton Publishing resource website. On the level of course content, we have two big ideas this week. One is the issue of personality, what is it, and more importantly, what isn't it? And then number two is the role of personality theories. And I guess I'll add a third big idea. I do think it's important from the outset that you introduce yourself to online resources in professional psychology related specifically to the study or the treatment of personalities. So those are the three big ideas. I'll adjust my notes here just a bit. Read Funder's first chapter and read his preface insofar as he has a unique style for introducing one to the study of personality from a researcher's perspective. And as I said in an earlier video, I think he is a preeminent researcher in this area, and I want to try and supplement his approach to my own clinical approach as we talk about the application of theory. So again, two big ideas. One, personality, what is it and what isn't it? And number two, what about theories? And I will encourage you to pay attention to Funder's advice. He has 5 or possibly 6, depending on how you want to organize them, major approaches to theorizing or conceptualizing and studying personality. And these 5, I think he settled on 5 in his text, these 5 theories or approaches earlier time were called schools. And now I think of them as perspectives. And I think that Funder does as well. So it's not a question of which one's right, but rather which one is useful in what kind of situation or context. So become acquainted, and you've been exposed to these, I hope, in Intro Psych and other courses. So this will be something of a review on theories. But in our course, we're going to have to think very carefully about theories versus the personalities themselves. And I will simply say this in terms of my own personal view of theories. Theories are like the main gazetteer or any roadmap, and that they describe the territory, but they are not the territory. So we'll come back to that philosophical idea later in the course. With respect to the second big idea, which is personality itself, I want you to take time to ask yourself, and it will take a number of weeks really to get your head around this, is how does personality differ from, let's say, the ego or the self? Very importantly, how does personality differ from identity or self-concept? And I want to introduce you to personhood as well as another key concept similar to but different from personality. So please don't assume that you have a good conceptual understanding of personality until you've really had a chance to think about and work through these basic definitional ideas. Now, what's interesting from a normal person's point of view, meaning yours, is that when people encounter one another, one has an almost instant sense, and I underline sense because it's not intellectual, but an intuitive sense of a personality. So we got to look at personality impressions versus the systematic study of personality. And Funder has a whole chapter on personality judgments. So it's a content area that has a lot of nuance in it. And the challenge, and I would say I share this with Dr. Funder, the challenge is to work your way through this material and not become bored, but rather find things that are useful and indeed entertaining. All that's fine and dandy, but some of it's pretty hard-boiled social science, so we'll have to work our way through the combination of those two. So those are my sort of early ideas. Look at Funder's definition of personality. Look at Funder's first law, although you need not memorize it at this point. And I'm going to ask you to go online to Wikipedia or some such place and look at the history of the definition of personality and how the field emerged over the centuries from a philosophical approach, in some cases to a medical approach, spiritual approaches, literary approaches, and since about the 19th century, which means the late 1800s, it's been more of a scientific study of personality itself. Okay, I'm glad you're willing to take this course with me. This is truly one of my most interesting courses to teach and share with you, so I hope that will become successful. And again, we have at the end of next week, week number 2, we have a weekend workshop that is optional, in which we can discuss some of your initial points of confusion or suggestions for how to improve the course, or discussion of the assignments, really anything to make sure that you're getting off to a good start in the course. We'll do that, please, in Dr. K's office on the discussion board. Post your plans, even if you're planning on skipping it, which is fine. We'd like to know how many people are coming to which event. We have 2 of them. One is on campus on Saturday, and the other is on a phone bridge for those who can't come to campus on Sunday. Phone bridge is toll-free, by the way. All right, I try to keep my commentaries to less than 10 minutes. If students in the course want me to lecture for any reason, I suppose I can do that. But I think there's such a richness of material, both in Funder and also in YouTube and elsewhere online, such as the American Psych Association websites, that I'm not likely to try lecturing at length unless asked to do so. Finally, this is my last point. If you look at the assignments in the syllabus, what really is the golden opportunity for customizing the course so that it is useful and relevant and, I hope, valuable for you individually. That opportunity, of course, is the course project. So now is the time to begin thinking about what a useful course project might look like. Of course, your ideas are going to be all over the place to start with. That's fine. My suggestion is that you give me a call and think of it as a consultation or a coaching session when you're ready to talk about your project and narrowing it down to something that's not going to become a big monster project for you. So those are my highlights for today. I think you'll be amused and enjoy looking at our supplementary videos in this week's folder. Specifically, there are 2 videos on the marshmallow test, which is both famous, and look for Walter Mischel in that video, the second one, and also important in that it illustrates a classic study of personality in small children. So do take the time to look at those supplementals. There's also a supplemental about the study of personality in Facebook for those of you who are interested in social media. And you'll find that the opportunities for a course project are numerous. And the hard part will be picking one that's truly useful and absorbing and worth your time that you'll invest in it. So, okay, that's 10 minutes. So I will stop there, and I hope your semester is beginning well.